trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on. See the horizon, turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And
and I'll never let it go. Yeah, just a few more chains and I'm get away. Just a few more things I gotta get out my way. Nah, I'm never turning back. I know it sounds so bad, but baby I'm fired. Oh, so hot I'm really burning. Oh, I feel the future getting brighter. I feel the future getting brighter. Baby I'm fired up. Baby I'm fired up. Baby I'm fired up.
Alrighty, y'all. Welcome back to a live stream here on Let's Build Twitter. As y'all can see on the screen, we are doing recording today, so sorry I won't be able to see as much chat. I'll try to read chats in between takes here, but I'm trying to get as much of this Let's Build Twitter done as I possibly can, because I really want to wrap this up by like end of the year this year. I would really like to wrap this up probably by like May if I can. And all we really have left is to do this community stuff, and then I just need to go through and kind of figure out some of the small odds and ends that are kind of broken that I need to fix. So that's why we're doing so heavy on recording this week. And then next week we'll do less. Next week we won't do any Let's Build Twitter recording. We'll go ahead and start working on some other stuff. I'm just trying to get through all of this. Like next week we'll probably work on Freedom Tracker some more and some other stuff. So just keep that in mind. But that's what we're gonna go ahead and do today. So I'm gonna go ahead and like start recording. Like I said, y'all, I'll check the chat in between takes here and kind of go from there. So let me go ahead and I'm gonna hide some stuff so I can actually see what's going down with my code that we need to write. I'm gonna go ahead and start the recording, and then I'll see you all after this recording. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the episode here on Let's Build Twitter. As always, I'm Ethan, or Unknown Coder, your favorite underqualified senior software engineer. If you do want access to the private repository for this project, all you need to go ahead and do is subscribe to the channel tier membership of this channel, and that'll go ahead and unlock you a form where you can fill out for whatever specific repository you want access to. Now that being said, let's go and hop into what we're working on today. Today we're going to go ahead and switch gears a little bit. We got done basically this entire page here. We do have a couple more things to deal with, like media and about. We do have a couple more things to work on here, like media, for example. Before we actually work on media, we need to be able to actually post a post inside of a community. And to do that, we need to be able to click on this post button. It should open up a post modal, and then that should allow you to go ahead and basically choose where you want to post this. So that's what we're going to go ahead and work on today. I think I've learned my lesson over the last couple episodes. We're going to record what is actually in this episode and not go over, just because we've had some long ones in the past. So let's go ahead and hop into the code, get to work, and see where we get to today. Today we're going to be doing some updating first. So first we need to go ahead and hop into the bottomless modal to make some updates. Let's go into our source components, bottomless modal, and bottomless modal.tsx. What we need to go ahead and do is we're going to come above our we're going to come above our disable scroll. We're going to go ahead and say override and top position. This is going to go ahead and be a string, and this is also optional. And then we're also going to go ahead and say modal position as well. And this is also going to be an optional string. Let's go and bring in these new things. I'm going to go ahead and actually clean this up a little bit because this is getting pretty messy. So content width height. And then here underneath disable scroll, we'll go ahead and also add in the new ones. So we'll go ahead and add in the override top position. We'll also go ahead and add in the modal position. Make sure we add another comma there. Cool. So now we need to go ahead and come down to about line 26. And now I just screwed everything up because it's not in the right order anymore. I believe it's here. So we have top position px. And now we're going to go ahead and have align items. And align items, we're going to have modal position, like so. And now everything's going to be kind of broken, so that's cool. Now we're going to find the bottomless modal box in BG color, so this one. And we're going to go ahead and update this as well. So we're going to go ahead and say top. And on top, we're going to say override top position. So if we have one, we'll go ahead and set that. And that looks good. And now we also need to go ahead and make some changes to the modal component as well, or something else. Let's go and hop into the modal component. Now inside our modal component, we need to go ahead and add in a couple things. So it looks like we already added transform, but we need to add in some height and width and stuff. So let's go ahead and add in our height. It's going to be an optional string. So height question mark, and this will be a string. We want to also add an optional width. So string. And then finally, we want to go ahead and add in a click outside. And this is going to be an optional and taking an E, react.mouse event. And this is going to return void. So once again, let's also go ahead and add these in. This time I'm not going to move it because I don't want to break it, because we do need to change some specific areas. So we'll add in height, we'll add in width, we'll add in click outside. Oops, click outside like so. Cool. And now we need to come down to about line 20, about right here. And then here we're gonna go ahead and add in a click outside ref. So let's go ahead and say const and click outside and then ref equal to use ref. This is going to be on an HTML div element or null. We don't really need to add or null there, but it is what it is. Now we can come down to about line 32 and we're going to create a new function. So let's go ahead and say const handle, whoops, click outside. And this is going to equal to e react.mouse event. If I could type event, there we go, and set up our arrow function. Here we're just going to say if we have a click outside, we're going to go ahead and call click outside and pass it an e. So now we can go ahead and deal with clicking outside of this guy. We need to come down to about line 48. So it's going to be, I don't remember where this one's going to be. It's going to be where we have our style. So this guy, we're going to come below this class name. We're going to go ahead and say ref is equal to and click outside ref, just like so. And I think we also need to go ahead and set up a use click outside. So it's going to say use click outside like so. And this is going to go ahead and take in our click outside ref. It's also going to take in our handle click outside. So now whenever we click outside of a modal, we can set it up to close basically. We also want to come inside of this style here. And inside the style, we'll go ahead and say width. We'll go ahead and be width. And we'll also pass in height. So then we can go ahead and set up a custom height and width on this. Now the last thing we need to go ahead and do inside of this modal is change a small piece of CSS. And then we can start actually working on opening up a modal to create a post. So let's hop into the modal.css. Inside of modal CSS, you want to come down to about line 28, about here, open this up, and we're going to go ahead and set a height to fit dash content. And that's because I think inside of our, whatever it's called, I can't think right now. I think inside of our drafts post, I think is what it's called. It can be a little bit bigger or something. I don't remember exactly what's going on, but somewhere this is broken, so we need to add this. So that's basically everything we need to do to actually update to create the modals themselves. But now we need to go ahead and update the modal slice to be able to actually open it up. Let's go ahead and hop into the modal slice. Inside our modal slice, let's just come down to the last piece of state that we have. And we'll go ahead and say display create post, which is a boolean. Boolean. And we'll also go ahead and say display post drafts. And drafts is going to be one that we circle back to because I was trying to more or less like stick to only communities. Obviously create post, it's kind of veering off a little bit, but it's still needed. That way we can actually create a post inside the community. So we will circle back to this. Let's come down below our initial state here. And here we'll go ahead and say display create post is going to be false, and then display post drafts is also false. Let's set up our reducers. So come to the bottom of this guy, and at the bottom here we'll go ahead and say update maybe display, and this one will be create post. This will just take in state, and here we'll return our state, and then display create post is going to be not state dot display create post, and let's make sure we spell that right. And then after this we'll have an update and display. This one will be a draft post or post drafts. What did I call this? Update display, yeah, post drafts. Forgot what I called it. Take in state, and then here return our state, and then display post drafts is going to be equal to not state dot display post drafts. Let's go ahead and also make sure we export these. So update display and create post, and then we also have our update display post drafts. Looks good. Let's go ahead and save this. Now we need to go ahead and actually create the skeleton for both of these, add them into the modal container, and then we'll start actually working on the create post. So let's go ahead and create the skeleton for create post first. Let's open up our Explorer. And this one, I don't remember where we put this. Let's just go ahead and put this inside of our features community, or not communities. Let's put the inside post and components, and then we'll go ahead and call this create. Oops, create maybe. Oh my goodness. Post modal / create post modal.css or tsx. I'm sorry. We'll also create post modal.css. Let's hop in here. So inside here, we'll go ahead and import. I don't know that we need React, but I'll bring it in anyway. React from React. We'll also import our // and this is going to be create post modal.css. First off, we're going to export const, and this one is going to be our create post modal. I can't type. Create post modal. Say react.fc arrow function. And inside the arrow function, we're going to go ahead and return, and we're going to return a bottomless modal. So bottomless modal, import that. Here, top bar is going to equal to, set up a couple fragments, and this is going to be called create post modal top bar. We're going to say content is equal to, and here we're actually going to go ahead and make this a feed post creator, and like so. Location is going to equal to, and we need to update this, but we'll go ahead and deal with that. We might actually end up bringing that in today. I said we weren't going to veer off topic, but we might end up veering off topic just to add in that. But I think the issue is going to be there's a lot of changes in the feed post creator, so we'll kind of see what our recording length is at and decide from there. Then we want to go ahead and override, and then what's going on with this guy? Feed post creator is broken. We'll kind of, oh, it's because of this. There we go. Now we're going to go and override top position. So here we're going to go ahead and put this at 32px. We're going to go ahead and say, let's see here. Still mad at us. We'll figure it out. Modal position is going to go ahead and be flex-start. We're going to go ahead and have our height equal to just fit-content because it can be kind of expand and contract as you add in typing. Click outside is going to equal to handle click outside, which we don't have obviously. So let's go ahead and set up just one of these guys for the time being. And then finally disable scroll, which doesn't seem like we have. I don't know if I forgot to add this or what's going on. Let's see here. Content and let's fix this. Disable scroll does exist. Okay, location, I'm assuming location doesn't exist, so let's just go ahead and get rid of this for now. And let's see what's also missing here. So I misspelled content. Cool, so yeah, location doesn't exist on our feed post creator yet, so we'll need to go ahead and go through and update that. We'll deal with that. So that's our skeleton create post modal. We also need to go ahead and create the skeleton post drafts modal. So once again, inside of our post components, we'll go ahead and say post and draft modal / post draft modal.tsx. This one, I don't think we have a CSS. I'll just create it now just for the sake of it for later, but we're not gonna have anything in it right now. Let's go ahead and hop into the TSX here. Go and import React from React. We'll also go ahead and import our // and this one is post draft modal.css. We'll go ahead and, if I could type properly, export const post draft modal is a react.fc. Go ahead and do our arrow function like so. Open this up. So here we're going to go ahead and return, and inside the return we're going to have another bottomless modal. I don't remember why we updated the modal then. I'm sure there's good reasoning for it. We'll figure out in a little bit. The bottomless modal top bar is equal to, and we'll do a fragment, and this is going to say to do top bar content. Like I said, we're not doing this right now because it doesn't really pertain to our communities, so that's why we're circling back to it. And content will equal to, once again, we'll say to do and content. Go ahead and close this. So that is the entire post draft modal. Now we can go ahead and update the modal container to actually display these. So let's go and hop into the modal container. inside our modal container, let's come down to the bottom of our state here. So let's say const and display. First one will be create post is equal to use selector. Here we'll go and say state and root state. Go and say state.modal, and this one is going to be display create post. We'll also go ahead and say const display and post draft. This is equal to use selector. Once again, have our state, which is a root state, and we'll pass in state.modal dot, and this one is going to be display post drafts. There we go. Then let's come down to where we display all of our modals. Here we'll go ahead and say display, and this one will first out be create post, say and then we'll have our create post, post modal. Go and open that up. We'll also go ahead and say display post draft, and then say and here we'll have our post draft modal. So now we can go ahead and open these or display them. We don't actually have a way to open them right now. So now what we need to go ahead and do is update our navigation component and allow us to actually open this guy. And then from the create post modal, we open up the post draft area. So first we need to be able to open up this one. Let's go ahead and hop into navigation and set that up. Now inside our navigation, I don't know that it matters where this goes. This one, it says line 44. I'm just going to assume it goes above this use effect. And we need to actually also add a dispatch. So we're going to go ahead and come on line 31. And we're going to say const dispatch is an app dispatch equal to use dispatch, just like so. And we're going to come down here, and this is going to go and say const open create post is equal to an error function that takes an e-react.mouse event, come in HTML and button element, just like so. Go ahead and open this up. Here we're going to say e.stop propagation, and then we're going to go ahead and say dispatch, and we're going to dispatch update display and create post. Go and import that one as well. We're also going to go ahead and dispatch our update post state, and this needs to come from v2, so that's important. And then inside here we're going to say this is another one that I guess it does exist. Property is going to be called reopen modal. I don't remember what this is for, but I'm guessing we need to update that at some point. And value is true. So I think we need to add this reopen modal. I don't know if we get to that today. It looks like we do. Cool. And then now we need to come down to about line 135 where we have our button to actually create a post. So let's see here, navigation item, image, and this guy. So it's a little bit off, but it's okay. Here we're going to go ahead and add the on click here. So on click is going to equal to open create post. Now we can go ahead and open up the modal, but we need a way to basically be able to navigate from the post drafts back to that modal. So that's why we need to add that property inside the post slice. Let's go ahead and hop in the post slice v2 and add in that property. Now inside our post slice v2, we're just going to go ahead, and it doesn't really matter where this goes. I have it on line 13. So it will come below the author, and this will go ahead and say reopen modal, and this is going to be a Boolean. And then by default, we'll come down to our initial state. Again, it doesn't really matter where it goes. It probably should be under active. Again, it doesn't really matter. So we'll have reopen modal false. So this is basically going to say, hey, are we creating the post inside of the modal? Yes or no. If we are, like if we open up something else, we need to reopen that modal. That way we can continue writing. Now we should have basically all of the legwork done to be able to actually open this up and view what's going on. So let's go ahead and open up the front end. Just make sure everything looks okay. We can open up the modal by clicking the button. And then we'll go ahead and start working on the top bar component, style it up. And that's basically everything we have for this episode. If this episode seems super short, we might be able to start working on the back end to get the post stuff created, but we'll see. I don't want to go ahead and go too hard and like make this way too long. So let's just see where we're at and then go from there. here on the front end, if we go ahead and click on post, you can see this opens this guy up. You can see that we have our create post area. I don't remember if we add any padding on the bottom of this. We might not. There's a lot of work that we have to do inside of our create post area that we'll deal with, or feed post creator area that we'll deal with in a future episode. But now let's go ahead and focus on actually bringing this in and getting this create post modal top bar working, and then we'll kind of see where we go from there. Let's go and open up our components, and we're going to go ahead and actually close out this. We'll just load in. Let's go ahead and load into a create modal component here. Let's go and hop into a create modal. Let's go ahead and hop into our create post modal component here. Now inside of create post modal, let's come down below here. We're just going to go ahead and say const create post modal, and this is going to be top bar. This is going to be a react.fc. Set up the arrow function. This isn't going to take in any props or anything. Then inside, it's going to go ahead and return. Inside the return, we'll go ahead and have a div with a class name equal to, and here we're going to say create post modal, and then this one will be top bar. Looks good. Let's go ahead and deal with our logic. So first we'll have a const dispatch. This is of type app dispatch equal to use dispatch. Bring that in. Next we'll go ahead and say const handle close. Close modal is equal to. Go ahead and bring this in. React.mouse event on an HTML div element. Go ahead and open this up. E.stop propagation for good measure. Then we'll go ahead and dispatch. Whenever we dispatch, we're going to dispatch an update display create post reducer or action, and then we'll dispatch also our update, or actually reset post date. Make sure this comes from v2, and that looks good. Next, we need to go ahead and say const handle open and draft modal. So draft modal is equal to react.mouse event. This is going to go ahead and also be on an HTML. This one will be a button element. Button element. Go and open this up. Give ourselves a little bit of space to work with. Here, e.stop propagation for good measures. We're going to go ahead and dispatch. Whenever we dispatch, dispatch, we're going to go ahead and dispatch update display create post, if I could type. So basically we're going to close out of the create post modal. That's why the reopen modal gets set inside of the post date. And we're also going to go ahead and dispatch our update, and this one is going to be display drafts. Display post drafts. Go ahead and import that reducer or action as well. So then whenever we open up the drafts modal, we'll close out of the create post modal and then open up that draft modal. Now we'll go ahead and come inside of our div. First off, I have a div with a class name equal to create dash post modal top bar, and this one will be close. On click is going to go ahead and equal to, and this will be our handle close, handle close modal. If I could type, that'd be cool. Inside here I have a close. This is going to come from Material UI, so import that. SX equal to. Here we're going to say height is equal to, and this one will be 20px. And we'll go ahead and say width will be equal to 20px. Go ahead and close this. We don't have any colors on it. Then we'll have a button, the class name equal to, and this one will be create post, and then modal top bar, and this one will be called drafts. Here on click is going to equal to, and this will be handle open drafts modal. Open this up, and this is just going to say drafts. Go ahead and save this. Let's make sure we do height properly here. There we go. And now we have this all set up. So now let's go ahead and style this bad boy. And we can also probably just go ahead and throw it in here. And this isn't the order that I was going to do, but doesn't really matter. Go ahead and bring in our create modal post top bar, whatever, create post modal top bar. Save it. There we go. Looks good. Now let's go ahead and hop into our CSS, style this up, and then see what we're working with on the front end before wrapping up the episode. Inside of our CSS, let's start with a create post modal, and this is top dash bar. Inside here, we'll say width is 100%. let's go ahead and set the height to 53 px, and we'll have a padding of 0.16 px, a display of flex, and then we'll justify content. This one is going to be space dash between, because one button will be on one side, the other will be the other, and then align dash items will be center. Next we'll have our create dash post modal dash top dash bar. Here we'll have our close. This one will be width of 34 px at a height of 34 px, not 24, 34. There we go. And then display we flex once again. Here we're going to go ahead and say justify content will be in the center, align items will be in the center, and then we're going to go ahead and have a border of none on this with a border dash radius of 100%. Next we'll go ahead and say dot create dash post modal top bar dash close colon hover. Inside the hover we're just going to have a cursor pointer, and then we're going to go ahead and have a background dash color of RGBA. Here we'll go ahead and say 0, 0, 0, and then 0.1. And then finally we'll have a create post modal, make sure we spell modal right, dash top bar, and this one is going to be close colon hover. Here inside close hover, or actually I always did that one, let me fix this. Next we'll have create mode post top bar and dash drafts. Inside drafts we'll say width is going to be 75 px. Then we're going to go and have a height of 32 px. We'll say padding is 0.16 px. We'll have a background dash color, background color transparent, like so. And then we're going to go ahead and display flex this, maybe flex. Here we're going to go ahead and justify content in the center. We'll align items in the center. We're going to have a border of none, but we're going to go ahead and have a border dash radius of 16 px, px. And then we'll go ahead and say font size on this is going to be 14 px. We're going to have a font dash weight, and font weight is going to be 600. And finally we'll have a color, it's going to be pound, and this one is going to be 1D A1 F2, our Twitter blue color. Now we also need to go ahead and deal with a hover. So now let's go ahead and deal with this. So now we'll go ahead and say create post modal top bar, and this one is going to be drafts colon hover. Hover. Inside here we're going to go ahead and say cursor is pointer, and then our background dash color is going to go ahead and be RGBA, and this one is going to be 29, 161, 242, 0.1. Okay, looks good. And then now it says to finish some stuff up. Let's just double check our create post modal. I think we might need to have a click outside, so let's just double check that. So one last thing here, we forgot to add in a click outside. So we're going to go ahead and say const dispatch. Dispatch is an app dispatch equal to use dispatch, and bring that in. Then we're just going to have a const handle click outside. Almost forgot about this one. Equal to a function that takes an e react.mouse event. Mouse event. Go ahead and open this up. Here we're just going to e stop propagation for good measure, and then we'll go ahead and dispatch. And this one will go ahead and be update display create post. And honestly, this should probably reset our state, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe Twitter remembers it or something. I don't remember. But here we'll go ahead and say handle click outside, bring that in and close this, and that should be good to go. Now all we have left to do is just hop into the front end and make sure things are looking okay. And then the next episode we'll go ahead and continue working on getting it so we can actually create the post from that specific modal. So with that being said, y'all, let's go and hop to the front end. There we go. So now we can go ahead and see our hover is not working. So that's cool. We need to go ahead and investigate that. We click on this. Our hover is not working. Hover is working on this one. We click on this, it opens this up. It doesn't click outside right now, so that's interesting. We might not have actually set it up. I don't know if this is like broken or what. Let's figure out what's going on with the hover here. So inside our create modal top bar, I typoed modal. Go ahead and fix that. Now let's go ahead and take another peek. Now it hovers. We can close out of it. We can open it. Click on drafts. Drafts is broken right now. I guess click outside doesn't work, so we just need to refresh. But that's going to go ahead and do it for this episode. If you did enjoy, please like, comment, and subscribe. Everything helps out here with the YouTube algorithm. And if you do want to see where we start from absolute scratch to get to the point now, that's going to be playlist and end card coming right up. With that being said, y'all, hope you have a great day. This has been Ethan or Uncoder, and I'll see you all in the next video. Alright, that was actually like a pretty good length there. That was only sitting at about 30 minutes, so that's good. We might be able to do like 3 of these today. If we could do 3 of them, that'd be pretty sick. I know that there's going to be some that are going to be a little bit more time consuming. Like this next episode's probably going to be pretty time consuming because we have to go into the back end, update some stuff, and do some other things that are going to be fun. So I'm really not excited for that, but it is what it is. And let's see what we have here. So we add some stuff to the post service, and then we update the post slice. Okay, so we just need to update the post to be able to add a community in there, and then we need to add some stuff. Yeah, so now we're going to get into updating the feed post creator, which is going to be a pain in the backside. So we're going to have to do a bear with me type situation. But if we get through this part, I think we should be okay for the most part. Maybe, I'm not sure. But we're going to go ahead and just give it a quick pause here while I drink some coffee. And then go ahead and get started on the next round here. And then maybe if we're done by like 6 or like 6:15, we might start another one. I don't know how long 302 looks or 301 looks. So 301, let's see. We have a drop down modal. If this is all we're doing, then we might be able to fit 301 in as well. Yeah, so we might also try to do 3 today. So that'd be pretty sick if we did get 3 done. We'll just have to see how long 300 takes and how many bugs we run into. Because that's really the big thing that ends up taking a bunch of time, is having to debug a bunch of stuff. So it kind of stinks. But I'm going to take one more sip of coffee here and we'll get ready for the next round. Alright, let's go ahead and get ready for the next round. Go ahead and hide the chat so I can go ahead and focus and also take a look at GitHub if I need to. So let's go ahead and get this started. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the episode here on Let's Build Twitter. As always, I'm Ethan or Uncoder, your favorite underqualified senior software engineer. And as always, if you guys do want access to the private repository for this project, what you need to go ahead and do is subscribe to the channel tier membership for repositories, and that will go ahead and unlock you a form where you can go ahead and fill out which specific repository you want access to. Now, with that being said, let's go and hop into what we're working on today. Today, we're going to go ahead and continue working on this post modal here. We need to go ahead and do a little bit of backend work so we can actually post to a specific community inside of a post. Then we also have a bunch of work to transform this guy so it actually works here inside the modal. So with that being said, let's go and hop into the code, get to work, and see what we get to today. Today we're starting on the back end. So let's go ahead and open up the back end here. We need to go ahead and hop into our create post DTO. Let's go into our Java conf footer, go into our DTOs, and then let's go ahead and find our create post DTO. Where is it? There we are. Go ahead and close out this, and we'll go ahead and let our JSP, whatever, our language editor, language server load up, LSP, there we go, can't word. So now on line about 26, we're going to come below here, and we're going to go ahead and set up a private final. And I don't know why not private final, this is the wrong spot. We're going to set up a private community, there we go. And this is going to be community, there we go. And let's go ahead and import our community from our models. Then we need to go ahead and recreate this guy. So let's go ahead and delete this, delete all of these. I'm just going to make it a little bit easier on myself and regenerate all of these. So let's go ahead and generate a constructor with everything on it. So let's go ahead and include everything 10, 11, 12. Okay, that should include everything. Go ahead and open this up. Thick. So now we are creating those. Then let's also go ahead and create getters and setters. And let's also go ahead and do a toString. I don't think our toString had anything crazy on it. So we can just go ahead and include everything on here. So let's go ahead and deal with this. 11 or 10, 11, 12. There we go. There's our toString. I think we're good to go there. So now we can go ahead and add a community to the post. Now I need to go ahead and actually update the post service to be able to actually link a post to a community. So let's go ahead and hop in there. Inside of our post service, first thing we need to go ahead and do is add in a repository for the community. So we'll go ahead and say private, final, and community, community repository. This is going to be called community repo. So this one I tried putting in the community service, but there's a circular dependency that I got tired of fighting, so I went ahead and just do the repository in there. Probably not best practice, but it is what it is. We need to go ahead and add in the community repository, community repo, click a type, and then here we'll go ahead and hop down here and add it in as well. So we'll say this dot community repo is equal to community repo. Looks good. Now we need to go ahead and update the actual create post basically. So now it's come down to about line 156. This part's the scary part. So this is a massive function. Line 156. Let's see here. So we're going to come down to about right here. And then here we're going to go ahead and say if DTO dot get community. And we're going to say not equal to null. So if we have a community passed in, we're going to say community and import community from our models. Community from repo is equal to community repo dot get by ID. Here we're going to go ahead and say DTO dot get community dot, and then we're going to say get community ID. And this is just because sometimes it, like the database can, I don't want to say get out of sync, but sometimes it'll say that this community or this person, whatever, isn't persisted. So we grab it specifically from the database. That shouldn't be an issue. We're going to say set of post, and this is going to be community, community post is equal to community from repo dot get community post. And this is also a way to ensure that we get all of the posts and everything back as well. So we're going to say community and post dot add. We're going to go ahead and add in that posted. We're also going to go ahead and say community from repo dot set community and post. Here we're going to pass in those community posts that we just added to. And then finally we're going to say community repo dot save. And then here we're going to say community repo or community from repo. So now we're going to go ahead and update the community with this new post. That way, whenever we make a post to a specific community, go back to the communities page, we should be able to see it there. Now, the only thing is right now we're randomizing like the order of the posts. We're not doing it based on date or anything. So it's going to look like it's not working when in reality it is working. It's just putting the post in a random location. So that's just something to keep in mind here. That should be everything we need specifically for creating this. The only thing that I want to go ahead and do is just make sure this does get restarted. So I'm just going to go ahead and run our NVM Spring Boot run one more time just to make sure this runs and it doesn't break anything. And then once we confirm that we don't have any errors in the application will run, we'll go and hop back into the front end code. Terrific. Our front end is, or our back end is running. Let's hop back into the front end. What we need to go ahead and do now is we need to update our post slice v2 to actually account for adding in a community. So let's go ahead and hop back into the post slice v2. Inside of post slice v2, I don't think this matters where it goes. It says on line 19. So we'll go ahead and just add it here. So underneath our reply restriction, we're going to go ahead and say community selected. And then here, this is going to go ahead and be a community. Bring that in from our global interfaces or undefined. So either we'll select a community to post this in, or it'll be undefined. We won't have one. So now we need to come down to this guy where we have all of this stuff. And I think I'm just going to put this behind number. That's fine. So community, and make sure that gets imported. It should already be imported. So now we can update the post state with community. And then now we need to go ahead and update our actual state here. So if we come down to our initial state, we'll go ahead and just throw this under our reply restriction. And this one is going to be community selected, will be undefined, like so. Looks good. Then I think we also need to go ahead and update our create post body. So about line 66 it says line 66, or actually line 81. So yep, let's come below our reply restriction. And then we'll go ahead and say community, community question mark, and this will be a community. And there we go. So now whenever we create a post, we can add that in. Then we need to come down to line 122, which is going to be, let's see here, this guy. So if we have a community, we're going to go ahead and say community, and community is going to be question mark colon, or actually just colon, body dot community question mark, or null. So if we have a community, we'll pass it, otherwise we'll pass null. And then let's see if there's anything else we need to do. We need to come down to about line 163. So come down to about line 163. So around here it seems like. And let's see here. We need to basically check to see if we have a post that came back from this, I think. And let's see. Where is our post DTO event at? So we have this post, feed post. I'm not 100% sure where this is actually at. Oh, right here. It's come from here. Okay. Yeah, I think we're just going to come here. And we're going to go ahead and say if our post DTO dot community is not equal to null, then we're going to go ahead and say thunk API. And we're going to go ahead and dispatch. We're going to go ahead and dispatch and update community post. And it looks like we don't have this, so we might need to look into where this is actually going to go. Update community post. Community is going to be post DTO dot community, and then we're going to go ahead and have post is res dot data. And it looks like we haven't created this yet. Let's just see. Yeah, we haven't created it yet, so we need to go ahead and actually add that. Before we go too far, let's go track that down in our GitHub. So let's just go ahead and comment that out for a second. And then let's come down to about line 335, where we're going to go ahead and reset state. Let's see here, 335. So here, I don't know why we are doing anything here. Reset post state, return initial state. I'm not sure what's going on with this one. Oh, it's because we don't want the state in there. There we go. Cool. So let's also go ahead and track down this other piece of the community slice. Or actually, we're going to do that next. So we need to go ahead and, we should have done this in a different order, but it is what it is. Let's go ahead and hop into the community slice now and actually deal with this update community post. Now let's come down. This is going to be a normal reducer, so we can come down to our regular reducers. I'm just going to put it at the bottom here. It doesn't really matter. So now we're going to go and say update community and post. This is going to take in our state. It's also going to take in an action. This is going to be a payload action. Import that in case we haven't yet. This is going to take in a community of type community. It's also going to go ahead and take in a post of type post. Go ahead and import our post here, and let's make sure we do this in the right order. Terrific. Let's go ahead and open this function up. Here we're going to say if we have our state dot selected community, and we have our action dot payload dot, and then community dot community ID is equal to our state dot selected community dot community ID. Here we're going to go ahead and say const updated and then selected community is going to be a community equal to JSON.parse. We're going to make a hard copy of this, JSON.stringify, and then state.selected community, because we want to update the specific community, so we need to make a hard copy of it rather than trying to update the state itself. We say const post is equal to, and action.payload.post. I guess we are going to add to the very top, so we should be okay. And then updated selected community post, community post. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and deal with that. And then we're going to go ahead and say updated selected community post is going to equal to our post. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and return our state. We'll also go ahead and say selected community and then updated selected community. Now, if you're wondering why we're only doing it here, if like our selected community is equal to this, because basically if you're not open in a selected community, whatever, we don't care about updating the post at that specific time, because whenever we reopen that selected community or selected community, we'll go ahead and fetch all the posts anyway. So we really only care to try to update a selected community if we're open inside of it, because otherwise we'll fetch the post anyway. Excuse me, sorry about that, I bumped my mic. We'll go ahead and come outside this if statement. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead and return the state. We won't update anything. And let's make sure we don't have any errors. Looks like we're good. Cool, now we need to hop in. Now we just need to now we just need to hop back into that post slice v2 and uncomment that code that was missing. We'll also, before we do that, let's make sure we export this and we still don't have errors. So come back to behind update search content, update community post. There we go. Now let's hop in the post slice v2. Now inside of our post slice v2, let's come back up here, uncomment this. So now whenever a new post comes in, we'll go ahead and try to update the community post and go from there. Let's just make sure we import this from our community slice. Terrific. So there's that. Now we need to go ahead and go through and do the painstaking part of basically updating specific lines inside of our feed post creator. That way we can actually make it look proper and create posts where we need them. So let's go ahead and hop into our feed post creator and start working in there. First things first, in our feed post creator, let's go ahead and add a piece of prop here. So go ahead and add in our type. And here we're going to go ahead and say location is a string. And let's go ahead and bring in location. We'll need to update basically all the locations or everywhere we use a feed post creator. And we're also going to go ahead and need to update inside of the modal to re-add that, but it is what it is. Then we're going to go ahead and create another piece of state here, or bring in another piece of state, I should say. So let's just come down below our display emojis. We'll say const, and this will be display and create post. Actually, this needs to come from our same thing here. So let's actually update this. So we'll say state.modal, and we'll make this an object, and then we'll bring in display emojis. We'll also go ahead and bring in our, this is called display create post. There you go. Looks better. Cool. So now we need to go through, do about line 48. So here, line 48, come below our reply restriction. And this is going to go ahead and be community is colon create post, post DTO dot, and then community selected, community selected. There we go. So now whenever we submit the post, we'll deal with that. When you come down to about line 59, so here we're going to go ahead and dispatch and reset post state. Whenever we do this and deal with this, maybe. And then this is off by a little bit, but I think it's okay. And then we're going to say if our display create post is open, we're going to go ahead and also dispatch. And we're going to go ahead and dispatch our update display create post. Go ahead and deal with this display. Oh my goodness, create post, and hide the create post modal. So that looks good. Cool. Now we're going to come down to about line 79 where we have this use effect. So now we're going to watch for create post DTO content. We're going to watch for images. We're going to watch for GIF. We're going to watch for poll. We're also going to go ahead and watch for display create post to change. So let's go and update that dependency array. Looks good. Now let's come down to about line 88. So right here we have our create post DTO dot not is reply. So now we're going to go ahead and change this slightly, and actually we're going to make a new line here. So let's come here. We're going to go ahead and make some curly braces, and we're going to say create post DTO dot active. And I really hope I don't screw this up. Or location is equal to modal. Whoops, modal. And then we'll say, and if this is the case, we're going to create a new component to put in here. It's going to be called create post and location drop down like so. And it's actually drop down like that. Go and open this and close that. There we go. So if we have that, we'll do that. Then we want to come down to about line 98. So here we have not create post DTO is reply. And then there's also an and here where images is greater than 0 and all of this. And let me go ahead and see. This is not the correct area. This is supposed to be inside the create post text area. So this one's slightly off, but it's fine. So here we'll have not create post is reply. Then we're going to go ahead and wrap a div around this. So this is why I said this is going to get really finicky really fast. But here, let's go ahead and throw a div on this. The class name equal to curly braces backticks. I'm going to say feed dash post dash creator dash and then content area dash $sign curly brace location. And then it's also going to have a style equal to, and here location equal to modal question mark. And if this is the case, we'll go ahead and also say create post DTO dot active question mark. This is disgusting. I'm sorry, y'all. And let's see, style should actually be only one of these. And we want to wrap like this and wrap like this and then do this. And then let's go ahead and do one of these. And here inside style, if this is the case, we're going to go ahead and say margin top is -15. It's ugly, but what can you do? -15 px. And this is going to wreck where everything else is supposed to go, but we'll kind of deal with that. Otherwise, it'll be nothing. Let's go ahead and open this div. And then here inside this div, we want to go ahead and take this create post text area and move it in here. Let's move this div in here like so. Let's go ahead and whoops, space CF to go ahead and format that. Cool. So there's that bit. Now we need to come down to where we have our feed post creator stretch icons. Let's see if that's even a thing. And this says line 105, which obviously not 105. Is it going to be, it's where our reply restrictions are. So this guy. So here we have our reply restrictions. So not create post. Let's see here. How are we doing this? Let me just double check this. So we're wrapping, I think we're wrapping this guy. It's going to be below our feed post creator images. We're going to come below here. We're going to create a div, the class name equal to, and this is going to be curly braces, parentheses, and create post DTO dot active. And then, and we're going to say location is equal to modal. In this one, or is this one or? No, it is and, okay. Oh, this is for the class name, that's fine. Question mark. This is going to be feed post, whoops, feed dash post dash, and then creator dash, and then stretch dash stretch. There we go. Icons. And then otherwise it'll be an empty string. Go and open this up. And now this is where things are probably going to start breaking. So we want to go ahead and take our feed post creator poll and our feed, actually not poll, we want our feed post creator restriction. Let's go ahead and grab this and bring it in here. And that means that this is actually needs to come down below the feed post creator poll. I'm sorry, y'all, just bear with me here. Go ahead and delete this. Come down here and like this. And let's just see here. Yeah, it's got to be it because it only encapsulates the feed post creator reply restriction dropdown. Okay, and it looks like we say not create post DTO is reply and create post DTO active, and then we go ahead and say and we're going to go ahead and say not create post DTO dot community selected, and then we open this up, and then we go ahead and get rid of this, and then we do one of these. So it looks like we end up doing it like that, and hopefully I didn't mess up any of these other checks. I don't think I did. I think these are the only checks that we have. Let's see, create not create post DTO dot is reply. Okay, and then we have our not create post DTO dot is reply and create post DTO active and not create post DTO dot community selected. Then we'll show our feed post reply restriction dropdown. And we're going to do something very similar once again. And I actually wrapped all of this inside parentheses just to be safe here. Go ahead and wrap all of that. Then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. So it's going to say not and create post DTO dot is reply. We're going to say and create post DTO dot active, and we're going to say create post DTO dot community selected. We're going to say and we're going to come down here. We're going to have another fragment, and this is going to say create post share with followers, and go ahead and close that. So now I hope this is in the right location, but it seems like we're just wrapping this create post reply restriction dropdown, and that was originally here. So I think that's fine. So now this is the part that's scary. I don't know if we actually did all of this properly, so we're going to find out in short order here in a second. So now let's go and hop into the feed post creator CSS file, start adding some of these, and we can start updating locations, doing a quick test, and just see what happens here. So let's hop into the feed post creator CSS file. So now we're going to come down to about line 20. So these ones should be fine. Line 20, say .feed dash post creator, creator dash, and this one is going to be content area dash feed. So here we're going to say width is 100%, and we're going to go ahead and say height is fit dash content. And then we also need a .feed dash post creator dash content area, and then modal. Here inside modal, width, whoopsie daisies, width will be 100%, and we'll go ahead and say height will be fit dash content, and our min height will be set to 120 px, and finally padding with 12 px, px and 0. Then we need to come down to about line 84. So let's come down here. Looks like we're going to create a new one. .feed dash post creator dash, and then stretch and icons. Let's do that. Go ahead and do this. Margin dash left is going to go ahead and be negative 64 px, and we're going to go ahead and say margin on the right will be 8 pixels. And this feed post creator component might be one of the situations where if things don't work here, I might just go ahead and YOLO and copy paste the updated version and then just take a look at what changed, because I'm probably not going to be able to track down a specific issue. Finally, we'll come down to about line 92. So under this height fit content, we're going to have a padding on this of 8px, 8px and 0. So in theory, that's all the changes specifically for the feed post creator. But now we need to go ahead and add the locations. So first, let's go ahead and hop into the feed component and add the location to our feed post creator. That's going to be mad at us down here somewhere. Let's find it. Here we go. So let's see here, feed post creator location is going to equal to feed, like so. We also need to go ahead and update our create post modal. So let's update that as well. Once again, let's come up here, and now this one's going to be location equal to modal, maybe. Modal, there we go. So now we have that. And now we need to go ahead and actually make some changes to our create post text area before we can actually do anything. And then it looks like we have a lot more work as well. So there's a lot of stuff that kind of scares me here, but let's just go ahead and hop into our create post text area and then start working on that. Now inside of our create post text area, let's come below our last piece of state here. Let's go ahead and say const display create post, display create post equal to use selector, and this will be state and root state. This is going to be state.modal, and I guess we could have done this slightly different, but whatever. .modal.display create post. We could have put these together, but whatever, it is what is. We're going to come down to about line 78. Let's come down here. Right here, we're going to go ahead and say use effect. Here, we're going to set up a use effect, and this is going to go ahead and watch for display create post. There is a weird bug here that it wasn't setting the content. So set content, and this is going to be create post dto.content, and this is actually because we can swap between from one mode to another, so that's probably why we actually did that. Cool. So that's everything we need to do inside of our create post text area. It's not actually that bad. We just need to be able to, whenever we swap from our GIFs or swap from our drafts or whatever, hydrate that content more or less. Then we also need to go ahead and make a small update for the feed post reply restriction dropdown. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Inside our dropdown, we're going to go ahead and set up a dropdown ref. This one says line 14. I don't know if it matters where it goes. I'm going to say const and const and drop down ref. It's going to equal to use ref. This will be on HTML div element. We'll go ahead and bring in use ref in a second. And this will start out as null, like so. Let's go ahead and import use ref here. Cool. So now here, what we're going to go ahead and do is we need to come down to about line 20, and we're just going to add a new piece of state. So const drop down, and then actually we're going to say top and drop down position, and set top drop down position is equal to use state, and this is going to be a number, and this will start out as 0. Then we're going to say const, and this one is going to be left drop down position, left drop down position, and set left and drop. And let's make sure that is how we spell drop down position equal to use state of a number. So here, since we need to display this inside of a modal, the position relative is not going to work. So what we're going to go ahead and do is basically put it in an exact location. So now we're going to set up a use effect around line 36. Use effect. Here we're going to go ahead and bring this in. And then we're going to go ahead and watch for the drop down ref to change. We're going to watch for the drop down ref current to change. And I spelled drop down ref slightly wrong, but I'm sure it's going to be okay. Let's make sure we import, make sure we import our use effect. Did it actually import from React? No, it didn't. It created a function. Why did you not import from React? Oh, it's because I typoed use effect. There we go, much better. So now inside our use effect, what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to say if our drop down ref and our drop down ref dot current. We have both of those set. We're going to say const client rect is equal to our drop down ref dot current, and then this one is get bounding. Get bounding client rectangle. Make sure you spell that right. Here we're going to say set and drop down position. We're going to go ahead and set this to client rect dot bottom. Then we're going to go and say set left drop down position. This is going to be client rect dot, and this one's going to be left minus 80, and that's about what looked good. It's about centered right there, I believe. Looks good. And then that looks good to go. Now we need to come down to about line 47. So here, this is going to be our feed post reply restriction drop down, and then we need to add a style to this. I'm just going to go ahead and do one of these. It's going to look better that way. So style is equal to, and then we're going to go ahead and say display colon. We're going to say active question mark, and if it's active, we'll say block, I don't know where active's coming from. Hopefully it's up there. I don't remember. And otherwise, otherwise it'll be none. Okay, we'll say top is going to go ahead and be backticks and then $ curly brace. And this one will be top drop down position px. And then we're also going to go ahead and have a left. It'll be backticks $ curly brace, left drop down position, and then px. So I think that looks good there. Now we just need to go ahead and update the CSS file slightly. So let's go ahead and hop into the feed post reply restriction dropdown.css. Inside the CSS, first let's come to about line 12. So here, it really should be line 10 it looks like, or 11, and say padding on the bottom is 12px. This doesn't make any sense unless we get rid of this padding. But whatever, I guess it's fine. We're going to come to about line 42. So here, position now is going to be fixed. So let's go ahead and do this. Position fixed. I don't think it matters what the top and left are anymore, because we're just going to override that. And we're going to go ahead and come down to about here. And we're going to go ahead and say that our z-index is 500. And actually, we already have a z-index. So it's just, I think we delete a bunch of stuff. I think we end up deleting this stuff maybe, top left and transform, because we don't really need this anymore. Go and get rid of that. And that should put us about line 50. There we go. Cool. And then we just need to go ahead and update a couple things inside of like the GIF, and then a couple other things, and we can go ahead and try to test this and hope nothing blows up. I'm expecting something to blow up. We'll see. Now let's go ahead and hop into the feed post GIF modal display. So once again, let's go ahead and come up towards the top. We're going to come below this const state here, and let's go ahead and say const and reopen modal is going to equal to our use selector. Go ahead and pass in state, root, and state. And this will be state dot, this one will be post v2. So do we need to reopen that post modal? If that's the case, we can come down to line, this is 66, give or take. Let's see here. Is it under the dispatch? I wonder. I'm assuming it's probably right here. So if we have reopen modal, we're going to go ahead and say dispatch and update and display create post like so. So whenever we attach the GIF to the post, we're going to go ahead and reopen that modal if we are on that. So that makes sense. And then we also need to go ahead and update the top to be able to reopen it as well. So let's go ahead and hop into the feed post creator GIF modal top. So now once again, we need to check for this reopen. So let's just come below our other pieces of state here. Const reopen modal is equal to use selector. Go ahead and say state and root state, whoops, state like so, to be state dot post v2, bring that in, and then we need to go ahead and come down to about line 59. So let's come down here, handle change value, and close modal, or handle close modal. We'll go ahead and check to see if reopen modal. If we need to reopen this modal, we'll go ahead and dispatch, whoops, dispatch. If I could type, that'd be cool. And we'll go ahead and dispatch, update, display, create post once again. So if we close out of the GIF modal, we want to be able to reopen this one. And then finally, whenever we click on some stuff inside of the create post button cluster, we need to be able to deal with that as well. So let's go and open that up and update that. That should be the last thing we need to update. And then fingers crossed we didn't break anything, because it's going to be a pain in the backside to debug. But we can go ahead and do some testing and make sure things are working. Inside of our create post button cluster, let's go ahead and come here. It looks like we already have the create post DTO. So let's go ahead and let's see here. We're going to go ahead and come below here. I'm going to say const and display create post is equal to use selector. We're going to bring in our state, root state, to be state dot modal. Then from here, we're going to go down to about line 99. See here. So here, display GIF. We're going to go ahead and say if our display and create post. Then we're going to go ahead and say dispatch. And we're going to dispatch our update display create post. And I spelled update wrong. Update display create post. So whenever we're navigating between different modals, we need to make sure we close one and open the other and vice versa. Cool. So that should basically, fingers crossed, be everything. I'm sure something is broken in here. So let's just open up the front end and see if there's any errors we need to resolve. And then we can just try to 1, open up the create post modal, 2, type some stuff, 3, open a couple things, and then finally we'll try to make a post. So that's a good start. We don't have anything like completely broken, and we don't actually have a way to connect a community right now, so we can't actually test that. What we can test is we can just make sure we open this. So I think that looks fine. Of course, we have this. We click on this, it should make some updates. If we go ahead and click on our GIFs, it opens the GIFs, looks good. I think the rest of these are fine. I guess we didn't do emojis. So maybe we should look into what's going on with emojis. But if we go ahead and type in here, typing looks fine. Okay, I don't know if that's supposed to have something else open up. I don't 100% remember. Looks fine. If we go ahead and close out of it, it should reset everything. Click on post. I think that's fine. Go ahead and say typing again. There's a little bit of space there. I'm not sure what's going on. Let's just say testing, creating a post from the modal. This should basically do everything that it already did. The only difference is now it's inside of a modal instead of on the feed post. If we click post, looks fine. We're not on the feed, so we come back here, you can see it's there, so it looked fine. And then let's just go ahead and say adding a GIF for funsies. And there might be some stuff we need to debug. I don't know if there's some stuff missing here, like some drop downs or whatnot. So we might need to debug that, because I know that there is some stuff like the reply restriction drop down for let's see, if it's not a reply and it is, let's see, so it's not a reply and create post.dto is active and we don't have a community selected, it should show feed post reply restriction drop down. And I'm not seeing that. If we look at Redux, whoops, and I probably just broke everything. I'm going to open up Redux here, and I don't know why Redux isn't showing anything. Let's try again. I don't want to debug this too much, because it did create a post and everything was fine. And I think that we have a way to fix this. I don't remember though. Let's see here. Let's refresh. And I thought that should have reset the state, so I might look into that as well. But if we come into our Redux DevTools, and I open it in a new window, please? Open a window, there we go. So if I'm gonna try not to break anything. If we click on post here, so right now in our post state v2, our active is false. I think we have to click on this and say typing. So now our update post state, now active is true. So our create post DTO active is true, and the create post DTO, our let's see here, our community is also false. So I'm not sure why we're not seeing the reply restriction drop down. I might need to debug that a little bit, because this should be true at this point, because it's not a reply. Let me double check. Reply is false. Yep, is reply is false. Create post active, and it's not a feed, and it doesn't have a selected community. So this should be displaying some stuff. And then also this modal part's working, so that's cool. So I don't know what the deal is with the feed post reply restriction dropdown. I'll have to debug that in between episodes. Let's just go ahead and try to make one. Make a post with a GIF just to make sure that's working. So go ahead and say GIF, Click no. Go ahead and click post. Okay, that works. Cool. So we click on this. I still don't see it. So there is something strange going on because this is active and it doesn't have a community attached to it. So I'll try to debug and see what's going on with that guy, but that's going to go ahead and do it for this episode. If you did enjoy, please like, comment, and subscribe. Everything helps out here with the YouTube algorithm. And if you do want to see where you start from absolute scratch to get the ball out, this can be placed in the end card coming right up. With that being said, y'all, hope you have a great day. This has been Ethan, Earn Encoder, and I'll see you all in the next video. Okay, so that one was a little bit longer. I'm not sure why this logic's not working. Hey Nick, how's it going? I'm not sure why this logic is not working here. Feed post creator. So this one is fine. Not a reply. That part's fine. So feed post active and location is equal to modal. Maybe I missed this part. No, that's the class name, so that's fine. I don't know that I want to sit here and debug this, but I mean, it might be good to debug. Let's just double check this code here. Let's take a look at our, this is the feed post creator. Probably better to get this fixed before next episode. So we have, not this. So it's this one. Reply is, it's not a reply. And it's active. And community selected is false. Really, this could have been a question mark here, but then we have our feed post creator, or feed post reply restriction dropdown. So why is our feed post reply restriction dropdown not working? Instead of recording a new episode, let's debug this for a little bit. So everything should be fine here. We have everything wrapped in parentheses where it needs to be. If we let's see here. Yeah, all of this should be fine. Console.log this right here. Let's see what's going down with this guy, see why this isn't showing up. That way I can fix this in the next episode. Console.log and paste this in. Okay, and I got an extra bit here. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. Comma. See which part is broken. Comma. So one of these is not working properly. Comma, we'll go ahead and say not create post DTO that is reply. We'll say create post DTO that active. All of these should be true and not create post DTO dot community selected. I forgot a comma. Okay, let's see what's going down with this. Inspect this. Console. So true, 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 true. All of these are true. So what's going down with our... And then this part doesn't matter. We just don't have... We inspect this. Click on this guy. So feed post creator. We have our right. We have our drop down. We have our feed area. So where does this actually live? So we have our margin, our right, our content area, and then it's a div without a class name, I'm assuming. So it should be this div. Reply restriction Display is none on this. Okay, so I messed up display none. Let's go into the feed post creator. For feed post reply restriction drop down. Okay, so I broke something here. Display active. So is this display active? Because right now we have display none. Let's see here. I'm pretty sure this should be right. Yeah, display active. Active, set active. Where does active come from? And where does active get set? Handle open modal. Did I put this on the wrong spot, I wonder? I think I put this on the wrong spot. I think this needs to go over here. So let's add a note here to the next episode. Move the style on line 47 to line, and then this is going to be let's see here, line 50. And this is called the feed post reply restriction drop down. Okay, so that'll fix that. Oops, type script. Okay, so now we can go ahead and take where's this code at? This guy. I put it in the wrong spot, so that's what's breaking that. So I'll fix that. Uh-oh, where did I bounce down to? There we go. And let's also fix the rules in the, what is this? About section, or the join community modal. Okay, so we have a couple of things to fix in the next episode, and that's fine. We're at 6:30. I don't think I'm gonna have, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough time to record an entire episode. I'm gonna run to the restroom really quick and grab some coffee. And let me look at this. This seems like it's gonna be a pretty big episode, because there's a lot of styles, and styles typically take a lot of time. So well, I don't know, it's not that big. I just don't want my daughter to wake up mid-episode. So it'd probably be better for me to work on some editing and stuff and get more of these videos edited. So I think I am going to go ahead and make this a little bit of a shorter stream here. So I appreciate everyone who did stop by. I truly appreciate it. Next stream, we'll go ahead and be recording this one more time. And then next week, we're going to go ahead and break out the new GPU, break it in, do some gaming probably on Friday and Monday, obviously. And then we're going to start transitioning from doing less programming content on stream and do more gaming content. And depending on how long this takes to go ahead and finish working on, we're going to start like transitioning into doing streams at a different time. But with that being said, y'all, hope you do have a great day. This has been Ethan Uncoder. I'll see you all on the next stream on Friday morning.
Took a swing at a wrecking ball and I praying for my downfall when I found a way to reconcile. Cause in my heart it's not worthwhile. It's a bloody battlefield where some go down, others heal. In the end it's all the same. All you can do is play the game. Oh, do we say goodbye? Refuse to question why. I'm too sad to say I'm sorry, so lie and pretend that you're okay. Swear that you will stay. Keep trying for one day. I'm sick of all these lies. Don't care if I capsize. There's nothing left for me to hide. Don't wanna live a lie. Too many lows, too many highs. Too many things to criticize. And so I leave it all behind. Don't wanna live a lie. No. Wanna live a lie. Life kept spinning at my feet and forced me down a dead-end street when all I had went up in flames, burning only dark remains. I cover up every part of my skin, oh, cause I don't like the person within, no. I know I'm the one to blame. All I can do is take the shame, oh. Do we say goodbye? Refuse to question why. I'm too sad to say I'm sorry, so lie and pretend that you're okay. Swear that you will stay. Keep trying for one day. I'm sick of all these lies. Don't care if I capsize. There's nothing left for me to hide. Don't wanna live a lie. Too many lows, too many highs. Too many things to criticize. And so I leave it all behind. Don't wanna live a sick of all these lies.